There's this quiet confidence in Miami right now. Not loud, not desperate, just that kind of atmosphere where nobody's panicking, nobody's overreacting, nobody's pretending they need a savior, because they don't. At least not under center. Tua's out there throwing like he's got nothing left to prove. And maybe, just maybe, that's because he doesn't. Meanwhile, north of all that calm, there's this storm brewing in New York. Not the dramatic kind, not yet, but something's not sitting right. You can feel it in how they talk, in how they explain things away, in how quickly they start mentioning the weather, the drops, the receivers. Funny how excuses show up before the wins do. Justin Fields was supposed to be something. That's what they kept saying. That's what the timeline said. He's mobile, they shouted. He's athletic. He's built for today's NFL. Over and over. But then came camp. And that confidence, it evaporated faster than you'd expect for a guy who was supposed to change everything. 3 practices. 3 brutal stretches. Not just bad. Not just rusty. Bad like the kind that makes fans flinch. 10 completions on 21 throws? Fine, maybe a slow start. But then 4 for 16? Then 2 for 6 with another pick? And they're still saying it's just early. Is it early, or is it just real? You watch those clips, those reports, and you don't see a guy working through timing issues. You see a quarterback guessing, second-guessing, holding too long, letting it rip too late, looking around like the walls are closer than they are. And every time someone asks Glenn about it, there's this tone in his voice that feels more like concern than control. The numbers are there, sure, but they don't tell the whole story. It's not about stats in camp. It's about presence, tempo, feeling. And Fields? He's not commanding the field. He's surviving it. The way a guy runs out of a collapsing pocket says everything. Not like he's escaping with a plan. More like he's running because he doesn't trust anything around him. Not even himself. Jets fans have started whispering things they didn't think they'd need to say again. Words like project, like maybe next year, like Rodgers should have stayed healthy. And when fans start reaching that early, you know something inside them is unraveling. Quietly, just below the surface. It's not panic yet, but the kindling's there. Over in Miami, it's different. They're not throwing parades. They're just watching. Tua steps up, reads, throws. Again. And again. And it lands. Again. You don't hear about chaos and drills. You hear about rhythm. Smooth releases. Sharp anticipation. It's not flashy. It's not viral. It's just right. They've questioned him before. Not for his arm. For the body. The durability. That's been the knock. But now, he's out there stacking perfect sessions. Not perfect in the way fans like to exaggerate. Perfect in the sense that defenders don't even have a chance to test him. And that's not something you manufacture. That's chemistry. Repetition. Trust. So ask yourself, what happens when one franchise builds from stability, and the other keeps switching messiahs like jerseys? Glenn can try to explain the misfires. He can highlight the drops, talk about the learning curve. But the eyes don't lie. When Fields misses high on a curl route, or takes off on 3rd and 10, when the read was clean, that's not about learning. That's about fear. And yet, the headlines keep trying to balance the scales. It's early. It's just camp. Everyone struggles in July. But the Dolphins aren't struggling. Not like that. Not even close. And you start to wonder, why do some teams need so many disclaimers, while others just let the tape speak? Tua's not just throwing well, he's throwing on time, in rhythm, with defenders breathing down his neck. No flinch, no shuffle. He's standing there like the guy who finally knows this is his offense. Not borrowed, not conditional, his. And you can feel the difference in how the offense reacts to him. When he hits Tyreek in stride, there's no celebration, just a nod, a glance. Like, yep, that's how it's supposed to look. No one's surprised anymore. It's expected now. That's the scariest part for the rest of the division. Meanwhile, the Jets keep waiting for Fields to look like he belongs. But how long do you wait before admitting maybe he doesn't? You draft a guy. You hype him. You move pieces around him. But none of it matters if he can't feel the speed, read the coverage, make the throw. The simple stuff becomes monumental when confidence is gone. He's athletic. Nobody's arguing that. But if you're relying on a quarterback to run you into January, you're not building a contender. You're delaying the fall. Because the league always catches up. Speed doesn't last. Timing does. Accuracy does. And that's the one thing Fields keeps throwing away, literally. Now imagine walking into week 1 with that tension, that doubt. Every snap becomes a test. Every miss echoes louder than the last. You think the fans won't turn. You think the locker room can't feel it. Miami doesn't have that cloud hanging over them. They've had their storms. But now, it's sun and silence. And that silence says more than all the noise coming out of New York. You don't need to shout when you're sure. You don't need to explain when the ball's already where it needs to be. And that's the thing about this Dolphins team. They're not just watching Tua stay healthy. They're watching him grow past the pressure. Last year, the questions hovered. Could he survive a full season? Could he lead? Now it's different. Now he's operating like someone who's not asking those questions anymore. You don't hear panic in Mike McDaniel's voice. You don't hear overcorrection. You hear tempo, precision, the sense that this offense knows exactly what it's doing and where it's going. It's not improvisation. It's orchestration. And that's rare in August. Now swing the lens back to New York. 3 weeks into camp, and Fields already looks like he's playing catch-up in a race nobody's waiting to restart. And sure, it's early. But these early reps are the foundation. And when the base is shaky, the whole structure groans. And the Jets? They're not just groaning. They're creaking. Every missed throw carries more weight than it should. Every turnover in practice becomes a headline. Not because the media overreacts, but because the fans are already so used to hoping they're wrong. That's the real issue. When your own people are already bracing for disappointment, the crash hurts less, but it comes faster. And you know what hurts the most? Fields was supposed to be the redemption, the new chapter, the guy who would finally give them a future. But now, he's giving them déjà vu. And nobody wants to relive the past when they haven't even healed from it yet.